Okay, traders, now that you've got a much better understanding of passive intent versus market orders and being actually aggressive on the not only the depth of market, but it's the market in general. Don't forget what happens on the depth of market is reflected in a chart. And of course, this is what many retailers don't recognize. And institutional recruits, when they're starting out their career, obviously don't have an understanding of this. And this is what the purpose of professional firms making new traders go through this process is. That's the whole purpose of it, is to get them to see that, look guys, there's stuff going on behind the charts. So now that you've got a good base, I hope you've spent a couple of weeks just playing around on the simulator with the various columns. So being a supply side buyer, being a demand buyer, so this column, right, i.e. pressing the blank area and aggressively buying, being demand and actually taking the supply immediately. And then similarly on the sell side, being a supplier in terms of selling, and then a demand transactor in terms of selling. So again, just to remind you, pressing the blank column. So hopefully you're all familiar with that. Now I just want to take it one step further and actually look at, as promised, some supply side games. That's what I want you to start observing now. You may have already started to do that as part of the exercise when you're when you're placing trades. What you may have noticed is, so really it's supply side, right? What is the supply side? Well, as we've said umpteen times over the last several hours of course material, the supply side is very much the depth of market. It's where supply essentially is available at every price. Okay, no different to any other market. However, the key is what's going on with the supply. It's observation. That's what I really want you to do. You can place trades if you want, continue to familiarize yourself with it, but what I want you to do whilst you're doing that is really observe, guys. As I said, pen and paper. I did this all the time in the first year of my career, and further on. Every single time I noticed something unusual, I would write it down. So for example, you've got a depth of market here of the treasuries. Guys, what's unusual here? Well, so what I would do is I would start my day just looking at what's kind of going on in the depth. So I would see here straight away, right? Would you agree? On the supply side, you've got approximately 150 on average at each level, right? And on the buy side, again, supply side, but of buyers, bids, what have you got? About the same, right? About 150 seems to be normal, right? So I'm looking for something unusual that's going to clue me in to what's going on the market. Because I already know everyone, is looking at this 150 at each level, but what is unusual about it? What's everyone got their eye on? Guys, look at this. Would you agree? There's 1077 bids at 11 and a half in the treasury market, and you'll see this when you move on to pound dollar, euro dollar, some of the thinner markets, crude oil. You'll see there's unusual orders, and this is really where supply side games come into their own. Now I must say, when you're placing orders, don't forget, we're not doing this to make profit. I don't use the depth of market anymore to trade on. I'm not really using the supply side, the depth, so much. Of course, I like to be aware of it, but I'm not using it as much as I'm using the demand side. So I don't want you to worry about this and think, oh, I need to understand this to make money. It's not that. I want you to understand it so you understand what is driving the market, what's going on behind the market. And in particular, the key is, guys, I need you to spend 99% of your time on this, is absorption. Because this is something I do look at in the cumulative delta. Just put CD. Cumulative delta, I look at it on a chart. And if you can understand absorption well on the depth of market, you're really going to understand it on a chart really well. And you'll see when we come to place trades on a chart And doing market profile, volume profile, even footprint is crucial that you understand absorption, because that's what's going to be happening in those markets. But on a chart as well, I can show you how to view that using certain tools like the delta on a chart. So if you can really get to grips with that here, I would say focus 99% of your time here, really get what's going on. The game playing, which we're also going to show you, I'm going to show you examples of, is not so important because it's too fast, guys. It's algorithms, they're doing it. You can't compete in that space. That's one reason I moved away from the depth of market. A, and then B is the regulators are really clamping down on it. So I have noticed, especially maybe not so much in thinner markets, it's easier to get away with, but in thicker markets where it's too obvious, I have noticed a lot of these unusual orders typically tend to be quite real. People don't get away with pulling orders so much. So what do I mean by that? So let's go through the list and then we'll show you with real examples. So what is it that I actually want you to look for? Again, make this an exercise. Could be one a day you look for, or it could be all of them together. But like I say, make a note every time you observe these things. So we've already said this. I want you to tick these off as you view them on a depth of market. So the first thing to look for is unusual size orders. Okay, so you're trading or you're observing, sorry, and you noticed, oh, there's 1077. So make a note of that and make a note of the level. So in my career very early on, I would be writing this down. I would write 1077, 11.5. So I know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a photographic memory. So when the market's approaching, I want it written down. So I would write that down. So that's A. And then, so what are we actually looking for? So supply side games or spoofing, which the regulators really frown upon, is orders being pulled in order to create a false sense of support. So would you agree, if you see 1077 bidders here, you're going to think to yourself, oh, there's interest to buy the market. But what is typically happening with spoofing, and go and look this up, guys, on YouTube, Google it, you'll see there was the famous event with the Hound of Hounslow, which caused a flash crash, or allegedly. So what they were saying he was doing is he was showing things like this, 1077, and as the market approached, guys, he'd cancel it. It'd go down to 100. So you'd know probably about 900 to 1000, someone's just fake. So you saw that this is why I wanted you guys to do that previous exercise where you place an order and then press X to get rid of it. That's all they're doing, but they're doing it automatically using a machine. Because what will happen is, if you see a lot of bids here, guys, what people are going to do is it's going to give them a false sense of support. They're going to start buying the market, maybe aggressively. So, you'll see hundreds of offers being lifted on the way up. And then as we come back down, what's going to happen is they're leaning on this. They're relying on 11.5 to hold. As it gets pulled, it will collapse. What does that mean? All these guys that have bought on the way up, they'll now have to sell aggressively, which means the person who's spoofing, what he was probably doing, and this is the clever bit, this guy bidding 1077, the people that are buying on the way up thinking it's support, he's probably selling it to them, guys. He's probably also here at the same time on the offer side that he is on the bid side. Okay, so if it gets confusing, just keep rewinding it and think about this slowly. He's showing 1077, but actually what he's doing, he's selling to the people that are buying. Why? Because he knows that he's going to pull that. And as soon as the market, if it retraces slightly, he pulls 1077, everyone's going to get nervous and realize, oh, they've just been game played and it's going to collapse. So again, like I say, this used to be a lot more prominent years ago. I don't necessarily look at this so much now, so I don't want you to worry about this too much. But all I want you to do is, I just want you to observe for, like I said, unusual sized orders. If the average is 150 and you see 1000, guys, you've got to ask yourself, is that real or not? Now, what I will say is a lot of the times, like I said, more and more in recent times, it is real. In thinner markets like pound dollar, people get away with stuff. It's illegal, but it happens. And it's easier to hide because the sizes are smaller. But what I want you to do is observe in the treasury market the unusual orders, possibly watch for some of these disappearing as we approach, or watch for it not disappearing as we approach. So for me in my career, the key was if I saw 1077 several prices away, it didn't bother me. I was more concerned about, oh, what happens as we approach that? Does it start to disappear? What happens as we trade there? Does it start to disappear? Right, so that's what we're going to be looking for. And then this, guys, this is where I want you to concentrate a lot of the time on, is just watching for absorption. So absorption is the opposite, okay, of spoofing. So let me just clear this up slightly. In fact, I'm just going to clear the whole lot up. Okay, so absorption is the opposite. So typically absorbing could be taking place in where there's very normal size or less than normal size. So we've said here, you know, average is about 100 to 150 here in the buy side, and obviously about 150 here. What people are doing, guys, is they don't want to be front run if they've got a big order to fill, or they want to buy or sell the market. If you think about it, let's say I've got 3,000 contracts I want to buy in the market, and I want to buy at 12. Guys, I don't want to show 3,000 here, because if I show 3,000 here, I'm going to get front run. This market's just going to shoot up because people are going to see that, and they're going to front run me. Now, what I can do, right, and this is where absorption comes in, guys, is I don't want people to know that I'm interested in buying the market, because well, obviously I don't want to get front run. I don't want the market to go without me. I actually want to get filled, don't I? And I want to hide my intent, guys. So let's have a look. So what's going on is you've got 194 here. So let's say the market trades down to it, and those 194 get sold into. Okay, so I get long of 194. What I'm going to keep doing is, so you see 194 appear here, right, in the demand side of the sold column, is I'm going to keep putting 194 in. It could be say a couple of hundred. So every time 194, let's call it 200 just to make it a round number and easier. Let's say that was 200, right? So someone comes and sells me 200. So I'm happy. But then what? I've got 3,000 to fill. I've got 3,000, I said. So what I'll do is I'll put another 200. Okay. Now this, someone else comes, so with that will go to 400 now. Then I'll put another 200. Then it goes to 600. Then I'll put another 200 in this square. Do you see? So it's hidden. The person who's selling thinks, oh, I've taken out 12 and we're going to go offered and tick down to 11.5. But what's happening is I'm keep pumping it up with 200. That's not illegal because I'm actually getting filled. Regulator hasn't got issue with that because it's not game playing. I'm not pulling, or I'm not creating fake orders. It's real. It's very real. It's getting filled. Now back to the point of front running. You might be thinking, well, why would people front run me? Well, think about it, guys. If I place 3,000 here and the market figures out that that's real and I actually need to buy, of course they're going to front run me, because what they're going to start doing is they're going to start buying knowing that I have to fill those orders. Now, if I have to fill those orders, I'm going to start getting aggressive very quickly as this moves away from me. Could be a client order. So that's why people start front running, because these guys that front run, they're going to be making profits, guys. They're going to be able to sell out, aren't they, as the market moves up. So that's why people don't like to show intention, especially institutions who have client orders. They'll have special algorithms that will keep filling basically or adding to the bid. Every time it comes down, they'll add. So it'll get taken out, then they'll add again. Taken out, add again. So I'll show you an example of that anyway. So as I said, yeah, looking for normal sized orders. So 150, like I said, 194 is nothing unusual about that, is it? You come in the morning and you think, well, there's 100, 200 at every level. Nothing unusual about that. You won't know absorption until, that's why I haven't said look for things as you approach, because it's just normal. It's just going to look normal. Everything's going to look normal as you approach. It's as you trade. So what you're looking for is normal sized orders, but orders staying static as you trade into them, right? So this 200 gets traded into 200 contracts sell there aggressively, the 200 doesn't change. Then 400, 600, 800. So you'll see 1,000 trades there, but it just says 200 on the bid. So you can see something unusual is going on. Okay, guys? So that is orders staying static as you trade into them. And then obviously look for orders not staying static as you trade into them, because then that isn't absorption. Okay, so that's ultimately the difference. The reason I've put B in is that's the differentiating factor between absorption and not absorption. Obviously, if you've got 200 here, you trade 200. Let's get rid of this. If you've got 200 there, you trade 200 and you go offered, i.e. you tick down, right? Then that wasn't absorbing. It was just a normal order, 200, then you move down again and you keep moving down. That's not absorption. So that's the differentiating factor. Look for orders staying static. Okay, guys? Now let's come up with some examples. But like I said, I'm not too concerned about these games. Okay, let's leave that to the algorithms. I just want you to be aware of it, that it happens. It's a great fact to know, and it's going to really develop and deepen your understanding of markets. It moves you away from being so obsessive about the charts that you see. I just want you to have a more holistic understanding. And even when you're sitting there thinking about, oh, even if you haven't got a depth of market in front of you, like I said, I don't typically look at the depth of market all the time, because I've observed it in the past. Sometimes even by looking at a chart, I kind of know what's going on just because of my historical time spent watching the depth of market. Okay, guys? So I'm sorry to keep going on and on and on, but in a way, I just want to reduce any anxiety you might have about, oh, Envy, I don't think I can watch the depth of market all day. It's too much for me. Guys, don't worry about it. When we get onto the pro course, we're barely going to look at this thing. Apart from with the footprint, I'm just going to show you how the footprint obviously develops in terms of the demand side. But apart from that, guys, when we actually go to trading, etc., and actually building trade strategies and edge, nothing on the depth of market. Don't worry, it's all chart based and obviously profile based heavily, but there will be things like cumulative delta. There'll be some volume analysis, which you're going to find so much easier because you dedicated 2, 3, 4 months to this practice. Okay, guys, so I hope that was useful. Let's do some examples. Okay, guys, so I've loaded up a depth of market here that I pre-recorded before, and let's just see what we have. I'll just zoom in. Now, I want you to do this on the treasury market, because it's a thicker market. It's going to be much more easier for you to notice this for now. So you can see straight away what we typically trading is between 250 to 400, so around 300 average. Okay, and what have we got here? We've got 1835, and same here, we're trading somewhere between 250, 400, so around 300 average on the offers. Now what have we got here? 733. So I'm just going to let this play out. I'll make a note of it. 1835, 19 and a half, and 21, 733. So what we need to notice straight away then is that the bids and offers do change, guys. Look, that went up to 764. That obviously changed by single digits. I think 5, right? 18 down to 1830. So that's just normal, right? You saw that before, where sometimes you're chasing, you're not chasing. If you're seeing it change by small amounts, it's always going to change. I won't be too worried about it. It's big amounts that we're concerned about. So let's see, it's at 1830 right now. 1822, 1048, guys. Okay, so what just happened there? that 19.5 went from over 1830 to 1000. Did we even trade there? No, we didn't, guys. Look, we didn't even trade there, and we lost 800 contracts. So what does that mean, guys? More than likely there's a spoofer. What that means is someone's placed 800 contracts there, in the hope that potentially, we don't know for certain, but that people start buying up the market, selling to him, and then it collapses. Potentially, we don't know that. But here's the problem. Because we don't know that, B is going to have been done by an algorithm. To take advantage of something like that is very, very difficult. So I'm actually hesitant to show you a full example of how these things play out. Because they're very rare. I do have a huge back catalogue, and I've decided not to show it here for a very good reason. Because I know if I show you, you're going to become fascinated and think, wow, this stuff's going on. How can I make money from it? And you probably end up spending the next several months of your life trying to take advantage of something that algorithms are using to their advantage. Guys, you won't be able to think that fast. It happens in a flash. I just want you to be aware of it. That's all. To deepen your understanding of what's going on the supply side. But remember, it's the demand side, these columns, that we as human beings can take advantage of using analysis, using discretion. We have certain advantages over the machines, and to do that, very much move away from the depth of market and looking at charts. My point is, it's for very good reason that I'm not showing you much more than a little glimpse into spoofing. Like I said, it just doesn't happen so often, and it'll be very misleading for me to spend too much time on this. I have noticed there seems to be this new, almost cult-like movement on YouTube about this type of stuff. And guys, it's just going from one extreme to the other. Be aware of it, but channel that knowledge and use that awareness in the right way, which I'm going to show you as we develop in the pro course. We're going to develop edge on the demand side. Supply side, like I said, leave it to the computers. For now, that's all I want you to be aware of, is see that orders can shift massively. And obviously that's impacting the market, but a lot of that is machines playing games. It's more the absorption side, which is, so I guess what I'm trying to say is the big difference between this is very much focused on supply, this is very much focused on demand. And it give you another reason why over my career I really shifted away and down into the demand side, is because think about it. This guy has got 800 contracts placed there, right guys? Has he actually traded? We don't know if he's even on the sell side. Maybe he's playing games for other reasons, whatever that is, we don't know. The point is, have his bids transacted? Has he actually bought the market? No. Those 800 were there, then they got pulled. That had no impact. Because if you think about it, what am I doing? I'm looking for trap traders. To be a trap trader, you have to be in the market, right? So I'm only interested in people that have positions. I want to know who's long or how many people are likely long, and how can I take advantage of that? Because their pain points are going to be when the market goes against them. Guys, if this guy hasn't got a position in the market and the market moves, is he going to be forced to do anything? Can I take advantage? No, I can't. So I hope you can see why. Go on YouTube, look at things about spoofing and market maker games on the supply side. Guys, you're going to waste a lot of time if you listen to a lot of the garbage I hear out there where people say, oh, you can take advantage of this stuff. Guys, of course, institutions take advantage of it using incredibly complex programs and algorithms. But at the end of the day, we're not that, but we are something else. We have a human mind that can use discretion on the demand side, which you're going to see in terms of profile and so on and so forth. Like I said, I just wanted to give you a glimpse into this. And I'm sorry to keep badgering on at you, but believe me, I'm trying to do you a favor, because I know what it's like when you first see this stuff. It can be very fascinating, and you can think, oh, I've seen the light, this is what I need to use. And just to hammer on the point, what I will say is what I've noticed a lot of people do, and I think why it's so difficult for them to find success is because when they see things like this, They think, right, that's how I'm going to make money. Every time people see one item, they're always thinking, how can I make money out of that? Guys, you've got to move away from that. You've got to start approaching information, not from how can I make money out of it, but what does that mean? What does that mean in the grand scheme of things? Because what we're going to do is we're going to combine loads of factors and you're going to apply discretion to all of them and bring them all together. That's the magic that is the holy grail. There is no system. It's looking at a plethora of variables and bringing them together. But as we're focusing on one variable, I don't want you to think about how can I make money from that. I want you to approach it as oh, that's a key piece of information. What does that mean? Can I use it? In this instant, as I said, you've got to start thinking to yourself, okay, great piece of information. There was 800, it was fake, clearly, as I showed you. Did the guy transact? No, he didn't. So if the market moves against a buyer, for example, is he be in pain? No, because he didn't even take a position. Obviously, we don't know. Maybe he did take a position on the other side, but we're not going to worry about that. If he took a position on the other side, it's going to show up, isn't it? Right? It's going to show up. So I don't worry about it too much. Just wanted to make you aware of it. So just for completion now, let me just scrap all of this. I am going to now look at the second part. Okay, guys? So give me a sec. I'm just going to set it up and then we'll crack on. Okay, guys. So what I've done here is I've set up an example where the orders are real. So let's actually see. How do we know if they're real? Well, we want to see what happens as we trade there. So let's have a look. Would you agree we got, again, same levels as before, 19.5. So I've made a note of this, 19.5, 18.5. We've got 1,102, 1,098, right? So let's let this play out and let's just see what happens as the market approaches this area, guys. So again, I'm not going to say it again, it's unusual for the reasons I said before. We've got approximately 300 on average. We have got this 800 one here, so let's keep an eye on that. But I know obviously because I've done this example that the market will start to trade into these and I want to see what's happening. Clearly they're unusual size. So let's watch the market as it trades into them. You see it's still sticking there. Might have gone down by 75, that's okay. We've still got 11, we've still got over 1,000 there. See, so the market goes offer. That guy's not moving out of the way, is he? He's still stuck there. That's giving me a key piece of information. I just centered it. There we go. So we traded, guys, we traded 978 into that. So we know that that was real. Okay. Orders not disappearing as we trade. They didn't, did they? And we traded into it. So see, this to me is useful information because I know someone just got long of around about 1,000 contracts and he's being quite aggressive because as people were trading into him, he was happy to do what? Take those contracts on. So let's see if the same thing happens. Just clear this up, sorry. At the next level of 18.5. So we had 1,098 written down. It's gone down by 18. Not a big deal, guys. It could just be one or two people here who changed their mind. I'm more interested in the big players. What are the guys, 500, 1,000 contracts? What are they doing? This is what I want you to watch for yourself. So let's just see. As we go down, as we go offered. Okay, so we traded what? 484 there. Right? Did the guy pull out the way? No, he didn't. He just absorbed or he took on 400 contracts. Look, he's still showing another 475. So pretty much the whole 1,000 contracts are still there. And he's still happy to take it. He wants to get long. This guy wants to get long. Do we see him take any more on? Yep. So there's more 700 now. 851. Okay. So he pulled 150, but that's okay. He still took a lot of risk on. It was probably the same guy at 19.5, 18.5. Yeah. So this guy has taken on quite a considerable amount of risk on the long side, so that clues me in that probably there are buyers in this market, and I'm not going to let it play out, but the market did subsequently rally because the thing is, like I said, I don't want you guys to think about this as, oh, how can I make money out of this? There seems to be this tendency, even when I started my career, but I see it so much in retail education where people will almost not stop you doing it. And it's my job to stop you doing that. Guys, think of this as face value. What is it? Someone's got long, possibly supportive of the market. Okay, come back to it later. Combine it with several factors. Don't think right now, how can I take 4 ticks out of the market, etc., etc. Okay, for now, I just want you to take it at face value, which is that there was an unusual amount there, but it was real. And the previous one with 1800 was fake. Okay, that's it. All right, guys, good luck with that. Observe that, see if you can spot those two things as well over the next few days. Then we're going to do absorption. I'm going to show you absorption in this same video, but I want you to come back to absorption after. Let me just set up the absorption example, and then we'll look at that, and then you can go away again for several days looking for absorption. All right, guys, enjoy. Okay, guys, so this is the absorption example. This is something I want you to have much more focus on than we did on the supply side for the reasons mentioned. This is going to be much more about demand and people actually taking risk in the market. Very, very important that you understand and spend time on this. So let's just start off and remind ourselves, just zoom in. What is it that we're actually looking for? So if I just zoom in first, so you guys can see it properly. What exactly, let's remind ourselves, what is it? What are we looking for? Well, we're no longer looking for unusual size, we're looking for normal size, right? So all of these orders here, someone could be hiding intent anywhere here. And then we're looking for those orders to stay static. So let's see what happens. Best way is to obviously see it in real life. So we're trading. Now what I want you to keep an eye on is 22, guys. So would you agree there's 329, someone, could be a machine or a person or whatever, but someone is willing to sell 329 contracts at 22. Okay, so we've already seen 169 trade there, so you'd expect, right? Would you agree? If about 300 trade here, we should move up to 22.5. We should go bid, basically, 22, 22.5. We should start to move up if people buy more than 300, which is what you've typically seen. Let's see if that happens. Oh, we've traded 600, guys. Still haven't moved up. 1,400, guys. Can you see what's happening here? Guys, we've got the same amount. What did I say here? Look for orders to stay static. Someone is willing to sell you 250 to 300. Guys have just bought 1,400, guys. Something doesn't add up. 1,400 doesn't go into 250 or 300, does it? So clearly this person is doing what? Absorbing hidden orders, guys. If you think like the banana market, it's like having 2 boxes for sale at the front of your shop. Someone says, yep, I'll buy both of those, there's only 2 left. You buy them, you turn around and there's another 2. You buy those 2, you turn around, the guy's gone around the back of his warehouse and he's bought another 2 out. Hidden, guys. Not illegal because he's transacting. He has every intention of selling those 2 or selling the 284 you see there. It's just that he's not showing his full amount. Like I said, you'll get front run otherwise. If someone finds out you've got a lot to sell, they're going to start selling very quickly, knowing you're going to be desperate to sell it if it starts moving against you. So that is absorption. We're going to see that it continues to absorb. Okay, so there you go. 1,600 now. What I want you to notice, guys, is as we slow down, what he'll do to lure more people in to buy from him is he's going to lower this offer, guys. He's going to go well low, down to about 50 to make people think they're finally making an inroad, and then he's going to absorb more of them. So watch that offer go right down. Okay, can you see it's at 100 now? He's trying to lure them in, basically. So we've traded 1,700. You see it went down to 60. Slow it down, this video, and you'll see it went down to 60. Now we've traded 2,000 there, guys. And they're still unable to push the market higher. This is classic absorption, guys. This seller is sitting on the offer, absorbing as many contracts as the buyers want to throw at him. Well, I should say buy from him, right? So now we're at 2,100. You see, it went down. It went all the way down to almost zero there. Went down to 60. I believe it went down to 15 at one stage. He's trying to lure people in to make them think that he's done. See, another 400 traded there. $700. We're still trading, guys, and it's just not moving. Still got the same amount of contracts. This is classic absorption. 1,400. 1,800. Plus all the others that he absorbed before, right, guys? He's almost taken on 4,000 contracts, this guy. 2,300, 2,600. Okay. Bit of a standoff between the buyers and sellers here. Finally, they get through, and that's the end of the example, guys. Okay, so basically this guy has done what, guys? He's sold as many contracts as he can, or he's absorbed from all the buyers. He's constantly absorbing. So what's happening is he's trapping these buyers, and more than likely we'll see this market turn around. But again, I don't want you to think about, will it turn around? How can I make money out of that? No, I just want you to realize that this is a massive clue that buyers are getting trapped. So what do I mean by that? Well, guys, what's happening to the price here? When a market goes up and down, price obviously changes. Guys, the price is staying flat. This is what delta is, and I'm going to slowly introduce this as we get into footprint. But delta is essentially the difference between the amount of buying on the demand and the amount of selling on the demand column. So this column. That's why I say, guys, this is the column. This is where I have evolved towards, because these are actual transactions taking place. The spoofing stuff is interesting, but like I said, people didn't actually transact there. This guy here and these buyers, they physically got long or short. That's all I care about. So the difference between people getting long and short here, would you agree, is quite big. It's like 2,800 people have aggressively got long, but not that many have got short. The difference between those, we'll get into this in the pro course, just you can see essentially there's quite a big difference there of about 2,500. So what's happened is the delta is plus 2,500. So on a chart of delta, it's going up. What's the price doing? It's just going. All this is the net buying or selling, the delta, the net buying or selling. It's going up, isn't it? It's essentially there's divergence between price and delta, and this is how you use cumulative delta. I use it a lot. We're going to get into it in the pro course, but I use it on a chart because I moved away from using depth of market. Like I say, I recognized that the strength and the depth of market is for algorithms. That's not to say, and I keep saying it, you shouldn't watch this. You should. Absolutely crucial that you understand this. But you should know this like the back of your hand, so that when it's out of the way and you're looking at charts, you almost know what is going on the depth of market without having to look at it. And looking at price versus delta helps you see absorption. So I've learned over time to see absorption without having to sit here staring at this. I can now spend my time much more efficiently looking at other factors, loads of different factors which I'm going to introduce, and this I can just see it on my chart. So again, if that's confusing, don't worry about it. When we get into the pro course and introduce cumulative delta, you'll see it. I'll show you absorption, but I want to introduce it here so that, do you see, guys, the difference is, and I think this is where you can really take advantage of the experience that I've gained over the years. Typically, someone will teach you about delta and the charts, etc., but without looking at the depth of market. My point is, look, understand it on the depth of market, and when you actually come to learn about delta, you're going to be that much more knowledgeable and efficient in using it because you've seen it on a depth of market. So again, I hate to keep saying it, but what's happening? buyers are buying. So a graph of buying, i.e. net buying, is going up, isn't it? Because buyers are buying. But what's happening to the price, guys? Are they getting paid? They're not getting paid. The price, what has to happen for you to get paid if you're a buyer? It has to go up. So these buyers are trapped. Eventually, they're going to have to get out. So anyway, that's absorption, where you keep seeing buying and someone is just sitting on the offer, price isn't moving. So I'm going to play this back for you one more time so we can just see it without me pausing it. I'm just going to clear up some of these markings as well for you. The interesting thing about this stuff, guys, is again, this is exactly what you see on a footprint without having to look at the depth of market. That's the brilliance of the footprint. Love it, because you can see this stuff without having, I mean, obviously it's interesting to see what's going on in supply, but guys, at the end of the day, if there's loads of people buying and the price isn't moving, they are getting trapped. Simple as that. I just think it's useful for you to see this on the depth of market happening. So there we go. So we've got about 300. There you can see this guy's already absorbed an extra 500 on top of what he's showing. Now he's absorbed another 1,000. It's gone to 1,400, 1,600 at 22. Okay, we're going to see more absorption. You can see he's lowering his offer, trying to make people think there's no interest in selling there. And as soon as they fall for it, boom, he's absorbing all of it. Using an algorithm, of course, because a human is not quick enough to do this. So now we've traded 2,000 there. So this is what you'll see on a footprint, guys. Just want to make you aware of that. I won't pause it, but you're going to see on a footprint, that's what you're going to see. That is the footprint. Of course, we'll come back to this in the footprint module. So now we've got 2,100 versus 147 sells. That's why I say, guys, look, the buyers are getting trapped, or there's more buying than selling. This is what I'm doing when I'm looking at a footprint. It's the market orders. So now we've done 2,000 already. Obviously, we moved down to reset the buying column, but that doesn't mean he's not absorbing more. He's now taking on another 500, 600, 700, 1,100, 1,300. Guys, the guy has sold 1,400 contracts, and the 2,000 before, so almost 4,000 contracts now. The buyers have bought and they haven't been able to move the price up. Or another way of looking at it is the seller is absorbing here. Huge amounts of contracts, almost 4,600 guys have traded there. Okay, so I'm going to pause it there and end the example. And this is the type of stuff I want you to look for in terms of absorption. I really want you to watch the depth of market and look for absorption where it's just a normal price level, right? So for example, you've got the, whatever it was between 250 and 300. And if 250 to 300 trade there, normally, it will move up, right? But guys, the maths don't add up. If 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 contracts are trading at one price level and it's only showing 200 to 300, clearly the guy is hiding his intent and a lot of it is hidden. Okay, now the difference is, guys, and here's the big difference. When you are trading on a thinner market, on the treasuries, all of this was happening as one price level. Right? Would you agree? We had 4,500, or say 4,000 plus in terms of contracts, trade at 22. Typically in pound dollar, it's not as thick as this, but let's say it was as thick as this. What you'll be seeing is that absorption will take place over 4 or 5 levels. Now you can see why I've only been telling you, get into the treasury market, understand it. Because if you go to those markets first, guys, you're going to get too confused. You won't even be able to see it. You won't even know what you're looking for. It'll be too much for you. It's almost like trying to drive a 1,000 brake horsepower supercar before you've even started learning to drive. It's crazy. It's completely nonsense. So better to learn on the beginner's baby slopes. Not to say it's easier to make money on this, but it's a slower action. Ironically, it's more liquid. People think there's liquid markets as moving faster. They don't. They move slower. Now you can see why, because there's more supply that you have to break through. So anyway, the point is that 4,000 plus will typically be spread across here. So you might see 1,000 trade here, we move up, but you know it's absorption because we've only got 250 to 300. You might see 1,000 trade here, you might see 1,000 trade here, in this column obviously, like the buying, and then 1,000 trade here. Okay guys, so you know it's absorption because there ain't 1,000 showing on the offers, so you know someone's absorbing. And typically what will happen is the market will retrace a little bit, so you do 1,000 on each level, then it will come back down, and then you do another 1,000 on each level, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and then you come back down, then you do another 1,000, then you might come back and you might do another 1,000. But the problem with pound dollar, euro dollar is it's not thousands, guys, because it's a thinner market. You might be doing 20, 20, 20, or you might be doing 100 or 200 and then come back down 100 or 200. That's why it's harder to spot, because here the market's thicker, it's obvious, whereas absorption in those markets on a depth of market is harder to spot. That's another reason I've moved on to looking at order flow on a chart. I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. I now wonder how these guys can sit here staring at this thing all day long. I think they're completely crazy. I'm going to show you guys as well how to read this stuff on a chart without having to watch numbers going up and down. And you know, I'll be honest with you, I just think you need a specific type of skill set that not many people have, this photographic memory. And I even think, why do it to yourself? I mean, end of the day, you've got things like the footprint that record all these transactions, that record all these transactions. They'll show you the history. The guys out there, I don't know why they put themselves through it, but I did it myself for a long period of time. And you know, you're trying to remember, oh, this absorption took place here, and the market moves down. Might be 3 hours later it comes back up, and you're trying to remember, oh yeah, there were 4,000 at 22. I mean, come on guys, very difficult to remember that stuff in a day when there's absorption going on at all levels, there's things going on at all levels. I love looking at order flow on the chart these days, things like cumulative delta and even footprint, because it shows you the history and each price level. But the point is, you will never gain a great understanding of that stuff unless you gain a great understanding of the depth of market. So spend the time to your advantage, because once we move on, this stuff's going to be parked aside. We're not going to come back to it. Really use it to your advantage. Look for absorption. Hope that helps. I'll put as much videos up as I can after this, just some more depth of market stuff, just to obviously keep your understanding going. But yeah, once you've done all this for, you know, the 2 to 3 months allocation we suggested, then we'll move on to the pro course. Hopefully that's helpful, guys. Any questions, let me know. Alright guys, I just wanted to add this quick bit onto the video because I realised I didn't clarify something, and it's really important, especially for those that are new to this. Easy to take things for granted, but essentially when we saw absorption at 22, that was obviously a seller sitting on the offer, right? If you remember, I had about 200-300 contracts and people just kept buying. I want you to look for absorption both ways. Of course it works both ways. Just wanted to make sure that that wasn't misunderstood, that it only works on the offer. It also works on the bid. We call it someone absorbing on the bid or sitting on the bid. Obviously this seller was sitting on the offer. What could quite easily happen at any of these price levels, let's just pick one at random, 19.5, the market could move down towards it and the guy could just be sitting on the bid. Keep showing 400, but actually what you see is several thousand trading into it. So rather than 2869 being in the demand column, you would see 286, assuming that obviously the identical thing happened, you'd see 2869 doing what? Sitting on the, it would still be in the demand column, but obviously it would just be on the sell side, right? Because someone would be buying those contracts. Here they were selling, here they're buying. So the delta would be the opposite, right? Simple. This side, the delta. So if you think about it, on the previous example, price was staying the same, the net buying was going up, but they weren't getting anywhere. That's why the price wasn't moving. That was where someone was absorbing on the offer. This is absorbing on the bid. Absorption. right? Think about it, guys. What's happening? Sellers are selling, sellers are selling, selling, but they're not able to push the price down. So what's happening? Net selling, net delta is going down. That's absorption. Someone is absorbing all these contracts, not showing his full bid size, but just buying it. So don't forget, look for this. Don't just look for one side. Look for this on both sides of the market, the bid side as well as the offer side. All right, guys, and this is essentially how you spot this on a chart, but we'll come back to this in the pro course. All right, guys, enjoy that. Good luck with the exercises. Any questions, let me know. See ya.